6 years ago, I started learning Russian. 6 лет назад я начал изучать русский язык. And back then, I started learning the language because I just got a Russian girlfriend and we were planning to visit her parents in Moscow, and I just needed to get to a basic level of Russian in order to actually communicate with Russian people and to have some fun on the 2-week vacation that I was going to be there. Now it's 6 years later. Me and my girlfriend were living in Holland together already for I think like 4 years or so. And I'm still learning Russian. So in this video, I want to talk about the reasons why I'm still, after 6 years of learning, why I'm still practicing every single day. And you'll probably learn something to see like how motivations changed a little bit if you learn a language. So let's get started. Давайте начнем. So the first reason that I'm learning is mainly because of my girlfriend. She's from Russia, which means that I really want to learn more about her culture, where she comes from, in a way that also helps me a lot to understand her better, like kind of how she grew up. We'll say a lot about basically her behavior and about her culture and the things that she likes. And also maybe later, if we're gonna have kids, and she'll probably want to also raise them bilingual, like Dutch and Russian. So then it's also good if I can basically also help with both of these languages. The second reason is that I want to be better able to communicate with Russian people. And then I'm mainly talking about the family of my girlfriend. That's because it's just very good to be able to speak to Russian people in Russian. First of all, they appreciate it a lot if you take the time as a foreigner to learn it. And second of all, when I came to Russia the first time, it was already possible to communicate at a basic level 6 years ago. But still, it's kind of like communication is not a binary thing. It's not like you can either communicate or you cannot. Like in many things, it's about, making sure the other person gets what you're saying. But the more you practice, the more fluent I become, basically, the bigger it is. You got this circle of competence that you can say. First of all, if your Russian is like basic, you can speak about this. But then if it becomes bigger, if you learn more and more and more, it becomes like, this huge circle. And at a certain point, you can basically speak about anything. I'm already at the point where I can speak about basically any topic in Russian, but I want to get to the point where I can basically, even more nuanced, can say the things that I want to say and even better understand people, what they're saying. For example, if we're having a difficult conversation with like about a difficult topic and we're in a restaurant somewhere and there's a lot of noise around, then it becomes very difficult to understand. I want to be able to also understand that. So I basically want to be able to speak like a native speaker, about any topic that we want in any situation. The third reason why I'm still practicing Russian every single day is that I want to be better able to read Russian books, watch Russian movies, to maybe sometimes even play some video games. I want to be able to read articles in Russian, to read the news and that. I just want to be able to take all those things, all the fun things basically, and then also do them for myself in Russian. And this is a great thing because, for example, I remember the first time, like 7 years ago, almost 10 years ago, I read Crime and Punishment in English. And that was already very interesting to do. But back then, I didn't even know I was going to speak Russian. And then a couple years ago, after 3 years of learning Russian, I managed to read the book in Russian, and that was such a cool experience. Just being able to read this book that so many people here in Holland and in the English world, they all read it in their native language, but it's so much cooler to read it actually in Russian. And the same thing goes for all sorts of movies. It's just so nice that I can basically choose between watching Dutch movies, English movies, or Russian movies in order to, to have a good time and enjoy all the Russian media that Russia is producing. The fourth reason that I'm still practicing Russian is because it's making me smarter. I really feel that in this time, this day and age, that people are kind of like, there's so many factors going on that are making people a little bit less intelligent, it kind of feels like. Because, for example, the first thing is that we have our phones, so basically you kind of don't really need to calculate anymore. You don't need to use your memory. If there's any calculation, you can just take out your phone, take out the calculator, type it in, boom. Why would you ever need basic calculus in life? You don't. And the second thing is, like, if, for example, I want to know where's the capital of Bolivia, I just look it up on Google. There's almost no need to remember it. And this just makes it so that we barely use some parts of our brain that we always, like for our entire life, like if you look at 1,000 years ago, people were using their memory all the time. You need to remember everything. Like the written script basically only got cool like a couple thousand years ago. And I remember even Socrates, I remember reading that Socrates said that it's kind of weird. He was very much against writing stuff down. He was very much into practicing your memory and remembering stuff. And it's kind of like now we're entering a new age where you don't need this memory even anymore because you can just look up everything. And I feel that all those things together just make it so that If you don't use it, you lose it. So I suppose it's very much better to keep on practicing memory and other parts of your brain. Like, for example, if you learn Russian vocabulary, you need to use your memory, your long-term memory. You also need to integrate it with like the verbal part of your brain, because you need to quickly retrieve stuff from there, and then you're able to speak it. And for grammar, for example, it uses all sorts of parts of your brain in order to understand those rules, and then also to be able to actually use them while speaking. And I just feel like if I compare myself to how I was speaking before I started learning Russian in Dutch and English, I feel that my verbal fluency has improved a lot because I started learning Russian, and I want my verbal fluency to improve even more. And the last reason why I'm still learning is because I'm good at it. And I like doing stuff that I'm good at. Like most people, if you do something well, then you like doing it, and then you want to continue doing it. But the lesson here for you is that if you're learning Russian, make sure to get positive feedback at an early stage. And for Russian, this is quite easy because there are relatively few foreigners that are learning Russian. So if you learn it well and you show interest in the culture to Russian people, they'll give you plenty of compliments and say that you're doing well. And this will also mean that you feel like, oh, I'm good at this. And then you want to practice more and do it more, which will then actually make you better. And at a certain point, you're just good at it and you really like doing it because you start getting positive feedback. And this creates like a positive feedback loop in which you will keep on speaking better Russian and will want to practice more, so you speak better Russian. If you want to speak Russian just like I do, then check out my course, The Conversational Russian Blueprint, link in the description, which will teach you how to become fluent in Russian. Спасибо вам большое, что вы посмотрели до конца этого видео. Это очень хорошо, и желаю вам удачи с изучением русского языка. До свидания.